Hello everyone, it's Red with RedDragonLeo.com, and today we had a earthquake over there in Japan. I guess they have not turned off the heart machine, either that or it's just simply some after effects of the initial hit that they had. I don't really know the answer to that, but in any case, it caused the market to sell off a little and kind of panicked the market. As you can see here on the 5-minute chart, this was pretty much when it was announced right here, right around this top right here. Almost at a double top, and then bam, we went down, then up, down, very, very, very wild day, as you can see there. Whippy day. So what's there to think about this? You know, the market is obviously carving out some type of top here, or it's basing for another move up. I really just don't know the answer. I mean, I wish I did, but I don't. Right now, the pattern that you've got here looks like a triangle. You draw a line there, you draw a line here, and you got a triangle. And it actually looks like it's already out of the triangle here a little bit into the close if you draw the line straight through there. So what's it going to do tomorrow? Is it going to go up and bust upward out of the triangle? 5-minute chart really isn't giving much help. It is pushing up here, and it is pointing up here. Histogram bars are, they're not massively overbought, but they're a little bit overbought. But again, this is only a 5-minute chart, so I mean, that can reset several times throughout the day, like it already did on this sell-off here, then rally, then sell-off, then rally. I mean, back and forth. So the 5-minute one's a little bit more difficult to see. But here you can kind of get a better look on the 15-minute chart when you draw your line right through here. And you can see that this last candle did close above, outside of the downward sloping line on this triangle that's being formed. And obviously from here to here would be the rest of the triangle. So the question is, do we pop up out of the triangle and go on up here again and make a, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 attempts, I guess, to bust out? Or maybe you count 5 or 6. I don't know how many you can, but at least it probably, since these are so close and that was a little bit further away, at least it would be a third attempt in a short time period, where this one's a little further away, a few days back, a week back, I guess. So on this third try, they say there's no triple tops. Well, there's a reason for that. They either bust through on the triple top, or they don't make it, I guess is what they're trying to say. With there's rarely triple tops, but you know, can you count this as a triple top? This one, this one, and this one, and all are exactly the same, but I don't know. If we go up here and we hit it again, will we bust through it this time? It's hard one to call on that one. Will the chart support it? It's going to be, you know, based upon obviously what the gangsters want, because it's the mood out there of the investors is one of uneasiness and you know, not knowing about what's going to happen now with Japan and Portugal and the bailout and raising of interest rates, and they just lots of uncertainty out there as far as traders go. But we as traders are not the ones that are controlling this market. We all know that this is some type of supercomputer, like in Terminator, we call it Skynet. You know, and it's not based upon emotions. It will just do whatever it's programmed to do. And so if they want to keep trading this thing sideways for another day, they can, and they will, and not allow it to bust up or down. So do we support the bullish case here or the bearish case? This is just, it's stuck in a crossroads. You know, some might say this up moves, sideways consolidation is bullish and you go on up, or it could be looked at as bearish. It's ready to roll over. But when I sit here and look at these, how quickly they rallied the market up after that news of Japan, and put in these two bottoming tails very, very quickly, that's got to lead you to believe that they do not want this market rolling over just yet, because buy programs obviously came in and bought it up very quickly there, and bought it up on that candle too on this 30-minute chart. They did not let it close below this line right here, which has got to tell you that they are fully in control of this bull market, that they are manipulated market, and they're keeping it to be a bull market right now. As far as the MACDs, you can clearly see they're losing strength all the way down here. Now they're actually below zero a little bit. Certainly could keep on continuing down. That is true. It is looking like it wants to hook back up, but it's done this several times throughout here. Hooks back up several times, but it loses its momentum, doesn't go up near as high. It keeps getting a lower high each time, and the market's just trading sideways. So it's got to lead you to believe that if they could hold the market sideways for another day or another day or another day, that they could actually dip this thing down in here to negative territory at some point. I don't know how deep it would require. Maybe it's already deep enough, but they could dip it down here to some point to where there's just no more selling pressure left, and they've held the market flat while the selling pressure just dissipates. And at some point it's going to get down here to some level where it's going to be buying pressure. It's going to be want to push it back up. So where is that? I don't know. Same thing on the 60-minute chart. As you can see, the 60-minute chart here has same thing. The MACDs are moving down. They're not quite at zero here. So how low does it move? If it continues moving lower and lower, if it gets down here at negative 2.5, or I don't see it getting too much lower than that, but even if it did, then that means it's going to get to a point where there's going to be buyers come in. See, right here, the buyers peaked out at the top, and they were just exhausted. And you've got fewer and fewer and fewer buyers. But as it goes and crosses the zero line, and the sellers are increasing as it is going down, the sellers are increasing, but the market is not moving. The market is not moving down, so more and more people are trying to short it. It would be the best way that I could rationalize this in my mind, is that they are trying to push it down, but they are failing, and so it is moving down to a certain level down here where it is going to curl back up, and buyers will come on board, and they will want to run it up. And so when they go to run it up, if the actual price has stayed about the same and has not went anywhere, then they're going to run it up. The MACDs will roll up, push up here, and get extended again like they are in this area, and they'll push the market up to the next level. And that's sad to say, but that's what it kind of looks like. It's like they don't even want to give you the right shoulder here to make an inverted head and shoulder, which is very, very, very manipulated, very controlled. I mean, here you had what you'd call, I guess, three left shoulders, if you want to call them that, or just one kind of larger one. If you just make this lowest one the main left shoulder, and then this is your head, you would kind of expect something to come down here and make a right shoulder. We talked about that, but you really expected it to happen sometime back in this area to roll over, but it hasn't done that. Instead, they've just held on and held on and held on, and they are just waiting until this chart here resets itself up for a bullish move. I don't know how low it's going to go, but if they cannot break it, if they cannot break down, and it does not look like it wants to break down, if they cannot break down here and start to get some momentum going down on the actual price to match up with the MACD's moving averages here as they move down, if they keep on that price steady, then this is just going to move down and curl back up, and it's going to end up being a bull flag, and they're going to shoot right off to the top. Now, I don't know when that's going to be, but that's what it's looking like to me, that the market just doesn't look like it wants to break down. When you've got two bottoming tails like this after that news, and they just balled it right back up, that has you should have you worried as a bear. And then plus the ADX line here is not giving any strength at all to either party, the bulls or the bears. You can see it's quite low right here, so there's no buying pressure or selling pressure. They just can't seem to get it going any way at all. So if there's no buying pressure or selling pressure, you got to figure that the government's going to manipulate it with their funny money and just hold it flat until it resets. So we could be, you can argue that we're going to ready to fall off a cliff, and that's possible. And but we could also be at one of these moments like right here. You remember this time period? It just beat everybody up, and then look what happened. It's exactly what happened. They traded sideways for almost 2 weeks in this little time period here, until they finally wore down the bears, reset all the charts, the weekly, I guess, as well as the daily or whatever, and in the 60-minute, they reset them all, and finally got them all lined up together and got a big push higher, and then they sold off. But I mean, that just got a ton of bears on board right here, and once they got enough bears on board, they just took them higher. So do they have enough bears on board right now, or do they need to dip this down some? I don't know. We are at comparably to this time period back here, you can see we were way up here on the MACD's histogram bars. We was at 15 area, and over here we're still moving up and haven't even started to curl over yet. So we're just below 10, maybe about 7 or 8 on this highest one right here. So that's not that's a big difference. This is still trying to move up. This one here was already overextended, so they got a lot of bears on board there at that point, and then they rammed it up and forced that short cover, and it was just ugly. I remember that quite well. And here you look at the bullish and bearish sentiment that's out there, and we've got record numbers right now, people bullish versus bearish. It's a very, very low amount for the bears. So there's not any bears left. Nobody's shorting it. So if there's no bears left, how are they going to squeeze this thing up? I ask myself that question. So I don't know. I keep thinking we're going to have a big down day like this right here. That we need to have a big down day like that, because how else are you going to get enough bears on board? You got to squeeze somebody. And you took out all the bulls right here on that shakeout move. That moved, that went down here to 1326, took out all the bulls stops right there. So now there's nothing left but bears that have stops up above here. And there's a lot of stops above this area. That's why I think once it gets going, it will go up there to that fake print of 138.86 on the SPY. And for about 1388 roughly on the SPX. So, but when is it going to do that? Are we going to first fall down first, maybe get a bounce off the off this moving average here, the 50-day moving average about 1312, maybe pierce it a little bit, somewhere in that area, anywhere between 1300 and 1312, that moving average. You expect it to pierce it a little bit, so maybe 1305 to 1312, somewhere in that area. It's just a rough estimate of what I would think that they would at least go down to. But and I say that based upon this right here, 1305, that area being hit. It's kind of a support area. And also you could also go back to this area. If you really a little deeper, you could go to 1300. So as for tomorrow, I just don't know. There's different scenarios you can look at on what we can do and which way this triangle can break. I just feel like that if it opens flat, you're going to come. Let's get back to this one. If it opens flat and you're already outside of here, then they could chop it on up throughout the day until all the 30 and 60 minute charts get overbought again, which you can see the one right here on the 30 minute, it is pointing up right here, and again it's curling up here on the MACDs. On the 30, on the 60, it looks like it's ready to curl up, so if they curl it up a little bit again and get a little bit overbought, and maybe just make a little higher low, at the same time they keep it below this level right here and not allow it to get up there and take it out, then there's a possibility we could roll over into the close. Of course, now if it gaps down in the morning, then you might see a quick run up, as typically they do. If they roll it over, gap it down, kind of like this, you'll see a rebound. And at that point, I think if we gap low enough, I think we should sell off the rest of the day. It's all about breaking this whole zone right here. If you gap it down quick and it runs back up, I think it's shortable all the way down to wherever it goes to. 1310, 1312, like I said, it's a very good possibility. I just don't see that happening on a Friday, but it is possible. Now, of course, if you gap it up and you don't go above this 1339 area, then it's probably shortable again. If you gap over that, then they're going to run. So I'm leaning more towards a flat open and then sell off into the close is what I'm really leaning for. So possibly flat to let this 60-minute chart maybe run up here if they're able to move it up. Again, I can see that we are outside of here, outside of this triangle already. So if they kind of open it up in this area and then run it up a little bit, maybe run it up to this area, close that gap. If they're able to get any higher, maybe draw a line right here, and maybe you can run up here as even as high as 1337. If you do that, then there's a possibility the 60-minute and 30-minute chart will get overbought, and it will turn down and roll back down into the close. And those are the scenarios that you got. There's just no way of telling which way it's going to go at this point. So basically, I'm just going to have to look for the open and see what happens in the open. And I'm leaning bearish, but I'm disappointed that they couldn't take this out off that news. It should have just kept on going, and it would have if you didn't have Skynet buying the computer, buying the market back up all the time. So that's worrisome. That tells me that any move down, if they're not ready to take it down, they'll buy it up and stop the bears in a heartbeat. So you got to be wary of that. So they might wait until next week to roll this over. Maybe April the 11th is the day it rolls over. I don't know. It's been talked about. So on that note there, I did post about Ben Fulford's latest here that Japan's government is threatened again with more heart attacks. They pay 60 trillion yen to the feds. So you got to worry about that as well. At 60 trillion yen, you know where that went into? Probably going into the market to buy them some more time. So that's another worry. That of course they're going to pocket a lot of that as well. But that is a worry. So they turned off their heart machine, or did they? I don't know. This was about Mount Fuji ready to erupt because they were still pointing their heart machine at Mount Fuji, and they wanted it, or Fujiyama, and they wanted to erupt it. And Ben said that he thought that they wanted to erupt it on April the 11th. So maybe it won't happen now that they bought them off to tell them to back off, the feds. So I don't know. I just don't know. So anyway, it's an interesting read. I put the link on my blog for you on the post, on this newest post. So gang, I'm just sitting here in limbo as well. Just don't know the answer here. Can't give you the answer until we see a definitive break one way or another as to which way this market's going to go. But it looks extremely bearish, but with the Feds buying up every single major dip, it makes you worry and very hesitant to be a bear. So we'll just see how it opens tomorrow and go from there. See everyone on the blog. Good luck, everyone.